So it's glitchy is the issue. Okay, we are live on multiple platforms right now, and we have a little bit of a glitch, and we're just going to take care of that and get Instagram going live as well. And there she goes. So we have a little bit of thunderstorm going on. So today I am so excited to bring my mentor and friend, Dr. David Meltzer, as he received his honorary doctorate. We're going to talk about connecting your employees to goodness and why this actually even matters. And so what I'd like to first do is ask David to share, why he does what he does, why this is important to him. And, David, to me, spreads the light. And he stands tall, really tall, speaks authentically. And for that, it's been an honor to learn from David and to be mentored by David. And so it's an honor to bring him to you. David, would you share with the community, the Suson Essential Self-Care community, why you do what you do?
Thank you, first of all, for having me, Jodi. What a pleasure it is to work with you. And the reason I do what I do, for the sake of what, is why I'm here, is to find 1,000 people like you that I know will find 1,000 people and empower them to empower another 1,000 people. I've been on a mission for years now to empower people like you that I know will empower others to be happy. Mm-hmm. Now, my skill set is teaching people 3 things that I know create happiness, which is I have never met anyone that makes a lot of money and helps a lot of people with that money and has a lot of fun in the process of it that isn't happy. And so I was blessed, or have been blessed, with the capability, skills, knowledge, and desire to create abundance in other people's lives in the realm of finance, in the realm of giving, in the realm of fun. And teaching people to enjoy what they don't like or love is a specialty, but to teach them not only to enjoy what they don't like or love, but to do it every day without quitting when things get tough. And when things get tough, I mean when there's no evidence, or the evidence is contrary that we're ever going to get to where we want to be, to enjoy that consistent, persistent pursuit of their own light, their own potential, what they want, not what other people want, not what they think they want, not what they want other people to think they want, not what's missing or not what they don't have, but to teach people truly to enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of their potential is why I am here. It's what I do. I am truly on a mission. I know the commissions will follow by holding strong in my mission and working with organizations like the Napoleon Hill Institute, which I'm chairman of, the Junior Achievement, which I'm chief chancellor of, Unstoppable Foundation, working worldwide to empower entrepreneurs to make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you do it with such ease and such grace. And it was interesting. So you had an event here with Shane's. How do I say his last name? Seo?
So yeah, you would think it was SEO, but it's so.
Right? I mean, because of the way
it isn't so, but it is so.
But say it isn't so, right? So so you had that event at his house, and it was really fun. And I was sitting at a table speaking to some really cool people. I think I have his one card. Anyways, so Armando Ortega, his wife Anita Ortega, and then an attorney, David DeLugas, and I think Bill Baker. I'm not doing great on names. So I go to church, right, on Sunday, and 3 people showed up at church that were at your event. And they stopped me in the hallway and they say, I know you. And I'm like, okay. And they go, we met you at David Meltzer's event. And I'm like, cool. Cause now I know where you align, you know,
Yeah.
because your frequency is your, that's your vibe.
Neighborhood.
So I'm going to pivot for a quick moment and share with people why we're talking about corporate wellness, why we're talking about investing in employees. So, as you know, I wrote my book, Emotional Healing, Toxic Free Living. It's endorsed by neuroscientist Dr. Patrick Porter, a biochemist, and IFBB champion Jeremy Freeman, and my doctor, Michelle Kukla, amongst others. And one part of this book is really focused on corporate wellness and why. So, see, my background is in finance and marketing. Gone health and woo-woo, right?
Get it.
Right. And it's really my calling. But the gift wrapped in strange wrapping paper, as Dr. Steven Spencer always says, is that journey allowed me to really experience and now lead others on the way, right? So to give everybody the real Reader's Digest version of what happened, because you can buy the book, or the audiobook is going to be available in the next probably week. So I was over medicated, misdiagnosed for 20 years, 2 decades. And while they started me on 8 drugs, eventually I was on 50 drugs. Now, when the average person who's taking 4.7 drugs, and there's stats, and y'all can get the book and I can send them to you or whatever, but it's costing a company $18,000 a month. And any company who is self-insured, which a lot of the good ones are, right? They're self-insured employees or employers. That's going to their bottom line. And me, because I was on 50 drugs, I didn't even remember what the number was, honestly, because, I don't try to remember this.
I agree.
Yeah. So, it's costing, so for 4.7 drugs, prescription drugs, it's costing the average employer $205,000 a year. For me, I even though I was the number 1 producer in a 3-state area, and I did more than my entire team combined, I was costing my employer $182,000 a month. So the drugs were costing them $2.1 million a year, and it doesn't work. That's bottom line. And so the idea, and I know you've been through a journey, so I want to have you share, okay, your journey, because you made me almost cry the last time I listened to you in Atlanta. You're so beautiful. You're such a beautiful human being. And so here's the thing. There's a ton for the people who need to really go to the science. I'm cool with that. I've got that for you. The science shows that you can and medical doctor teaches it, Dr. Michael McGregor, for cholesterol, there is Brazil nuts, and for anxiety, there's lavender. And that's just 2 on the list of many. But the point is that people or corporations that have toxic food on, that they're serving, and they're serving all the sodas and all the Snicker bars and whatever it is that they're serving, that's lovely, but your employees can't produce at the level that they can actually produce if you give them real food, because the body doesn't know how to process the rest. Do you want to talk about what happened when you lost everything, and what were these defining factors? What were the behaviors? What were the lifestyle, and what you shifted to rise up?
Yeah, I think, at a high level, I can help everyone regardless of their own circumstances, because for me, there's a paradigm shift that you're talking about. And the paradigm shift is that we have to go get healthy. We have to go get wealthy. We have to go get happy. And we don't. So what changed in my life was analyzing the behaviors, as you have indicated, certain behaviors of corporations, and what they do in for the sake of helping employees are actually creating disease. They're creating interference between where they want to be or better. And so for me, the first shift in the paradigm is a simple 3-word shift that people spend a lifetime studying. If you're interested in existentialism or Kierkegaard or many other great wise people in the past, and the three words, the three letters or two words are I am. And so the first shift in my paradigm when I lost over $100 million, went bankrupt, had my wife leaving me and a variety of other things, doing drugs and alcohol and a variety of other bad behaviors, is that I decided it was no longer just wisdom, but it was faith. Faith that there was something bigger than me, an infinite, abundant, unified system of thought, of infinite information, infinite energy, infinite love. And I was a part of that. And once I shifted my paradigm to I am happy, I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am worthy, I started to look at what I'm doing to interfere with it, knowing that it was going to be the wisdom and the faith that shortens this distance of interference, this distance of resistance that so many of us put into place, and so many companies, corporations put into place, because they don't have the faith that people are already there. They just have to figure out the behaviors that interfere with it. Now, let me define real quickly behaviors, because my good behaviors may be your bad behavior, and your bad behavior may be my good behavior. Good behavior is defined as behavior that's aligned with where you want to be or better. So eating candy could be a good behavior depending on where you want to be or better and how much candy you eat. Drinking water may be a bad behavior depending on where you want to be and how much water you drink and what type of water you drink and when you drink it. And so as we start analyzing behaviors as good and bad under the context of faith that I am healthy, happy, wealthy, and worthy, we can start figuring out as corporations, companies, and individuals what we're doing to interfere with our potential.
Exactly.
And we can shorten that distance by using the only man-made construct that's consistent in the future and a determinative dependent variable that's reliable, which is time. So if you're, guilty, for example, or worried or anxious or frustrated or angry, well, then look and see how much time you spent being guilty, frustrated, angry, and worried, and shorten the distance. So spend less time. So if you spend 2 hours interfering with your potential, if you improve that 1 minute a day, you know that it's only 120 days until you're in minutes and moments. And the other hour and 59 minutes can be spent in spirit with access to infinite energy and information.
Right. And here's the thing, and that doesn't happen overnight. And it does take some easy, and I do mean really easy changes. I mean, it's, neutralizing electromagnetic frequencies in the workspace, which is cheap, by the way. I mean, there's nothing that I'm going to present to people in the corporate world that they can't do. And that's actually just not easy for their employees. I mean, you change out, I have the most amazing people that I work with that filter water. The water has so many different contaminants in it. So we're not actually asking an employee to change their behavior. We're actually asking the corporation to provide a sacred space for your employee to work in, right? Which means clean water, neutralized electromagnetic frequencies, and wellness rooms so that people have a space to decompress, quiet the mind. Because quieting the mind is, wouldn't you say, is probably one of the most important lessons in your journey as well? I know it was mine.
Yeah, I call it a little different because it gets confusing to people when we talk about quieting mind. I like to remind, remember, and recollect with my source. And for me, it may not be as indicative or illustrative as quieting a mind, but time spent reminding, remembering, recollecting with our source allows us to access the information, energy, and inspiration that elevates our awareness, our frequency. Notating, by the way, that as we vibrate faster and our frequency elevates, that our awareness elevates. We can only be aware of that which vibrates equal to or less than us. So, Earth vibrates the slowest, plants, animals, humans, sound, light, and thoughts. Truth being the fastest of all vibrating mechanisms on earth, if we can elevate our own frequencies, we can be aware of things to make life easy, simple, to give us the cheat codes. I was suckered into meditation or quieting my mind because my coach told me they could teach me to meditate and elevate my own frequency, my awareness, my vibration, to when to buy or sell. And where my mindset and values were at that time, I couldn't think of anything more valuable than to know when to buy or sell, or an easier way to get rich.
Well, I have a story for you. Well, two things. One, another way about quieting the mind. Sometimes I talk about what the experience is. So a lot of people have racing thoughts. So if you like to eliminate racing thoughts and anxiety, that's another way to say quieting the mind.
Yeah, monkey brain.
However, the first time, this is going back when I was disabled, because I was, for those who don't know, I was disabled for 4 years, where I reclaimed my health and reversed 54 chronic conditions using plants and energy. And no, I'm not vegan or vegetarian. There's just a lot of benefits to plants, and I eat a lot of meat. Okay. So you find you do you. We don't tell people how
I'm
to
with
eat.
you. You
Yeah.
do you. Yeah.
Right. You do you, right? We're just saying get rid of the toxins. Honestly, that's, and let's not demonize anything like lectins or whatever. Find what works for your body, which is what I'm an expert at. So, anyways, the very first time that my psychologist, Dr. Michelle Kukla, who endorsed the book, told me to go meditate, was like probably 10 people in a room. I passed out cold and I snored because I had congestion. So, I mean, I've had every lesson or mistake that you can have. And like, there's nothing you can do that I haven't already done. So don't be embarrassed to share is my point. So
I love that.
Naima Latif, who's does PR and media, she says people often drink alcohol when they are depressed. They get sick, miss work, lose money, and get more depressed. So they drink more alcohol. How does a person stop this common vicious cycle? Great question.
Yeah. So this is a behavioral question. It could be any behavior. And all behaviors do three things. They aggregate. That means they attract more of the same behavior. They accelerate, which means the outcomes come even quicker, and they are exponential in those outcomes. So things happen very slowly and then all of a sudden. And so within the context of a bad behavior, what we want to do is to use time in order to minimize that behavior. So we want to meet ourselves where we are at. We don't want to change everything all at once. So if you are drinking alcohol when you are depressed, we can look to see how much you're drinking, and we can start reducing the amount of drinking, and sooner or later drink nothing. And so understanding behaviors aggregate, accelerate, and compound, we can reverse that. And we also can replace it with good behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're drinking, let's say, 3 drinks of alcohol when you are depressed, the next time you get depressed, you should drink 2.5 drinks of alcohol and a half a drink of water. And the next time you get depressed, you could have 2 drinks of alcohol and 1 drink of water. And the next time, and so on and so forth, until all of a sudden you're addicted to water, and your mind, as you know, utilizing NLP, your mind tells you, when I'm depressed, I like to drink water. It makes me feel better. And drinking water is going to create acceleration, aggregation, and compound a healthy outcome, unlike the negative or interfering outcomes.
So, yes, and I have a plot twist for this.
Good.
Okay. So, on my journey, I had toxic brain. and I never really drank alcohol, but I had all the toxins from all the other places. And when you look at a SPECT scan, which is a scan of the brain that looks at the overperforming and underperforming parts of the brain and where the blood flow is going, right? Yeah, finance and marketing gone health. Okay, so so when you look at that, you know why these behaviors are happening, and we seem to have balloons going on in the background. Interesting. So what I learned on my journey is how to use binaural beats to do a reset on the neural network of the brain, setting it back down to baseline. So people can either take a sip of alcohol, inhale the fragrance of alcohol, and by the way, insert anything else, right? Cigarettes, sugar, a food, cashews, whatever. You inhale it, touch it, smell it, feel it, imagine eating it or drinking it, and you run the vibration, and within 10 to 20 minutes, you can actually do a reset and the person doesn't have the addiction anymore. Not only that, you can use the combination of black pepper essential oil to curb the craving for any addiction, in addition to grapefruit essential oil. And by the way, we're not telling you to take it. We're telling you to inhale it, right? And it brings, so one curbs the addiction and the other one creates joy, peace, happiness, and vibrate a higher vibration. And this is only one easy way to curb an addiction. I've got a laundry list of ways that we can help people that are non-invasive. So it's so great that Naima asked that question, because there's so many different ways to roam, right? So I don't know if we have, it looks like there might be one other question. I know that we're a little bit over time, David.
I have two more minutes. I got to get to my next interview. So let's do it.
All right. She says there's a very specific breathing technique that brings the autonomic nervous system back into homeostasis and out of fight or flight, right? And so, so what would you say to people? Here's my question. What would you say to corporations that are not taking care of their employees? What would you suggest that they do or consider looking at in order to increase productivity and increase the joy and happiness, which then means, you know, more business and a better working environment?
Look, if you are a company or a corporation, you're in business to make money. And so do an economic analysis of what we're talking about. That's all I would suggest. If you're in business, you're here to make money. And all of the things that are contributing to a decrease in your revenue, a decrease in your profitability, a decrease in employee engagement, a extensive emotional expense and quantitative expense, you know, for any company, this is not rocket science math. This is simple math. And so I encourage every company out there to look at the facts of what it's costing you to create dis-ease in your company by here's what God tells us. And some of these have been covered already on this show. He says you need to breathe to live. If you don't breathe, you die. So if you're a company, make sure you have a breathing practice. 2, you need to eat or you will die. Make sure you're paying attention to what your employees are being fed by you. 3, we talked about this one too. You need to drink or you will die. Make sure you have a program to make sure you're hydrating people with the appropriate fluids. 4, if you don't sleep, you will die. Make sure that you are accommodating recovery and access via sleep. And then finally, this one's already been covered a lot of times by companies. If you don't move, you will die. Make sure you have a movement program. So
Sitting
breathe,
is the new smoking.
drink,
Yeah.
sleep, and move. And do the math, and you will make millions of dollars and save millions of dollars by these simple changes of common sense. Jodi, I appreciate the opportunity. I got to jump to my next interview.
Thank you. No, thank you. I want to say one thing. I actually already have the financials. So anybody who wants the financials for what he just said, no, I mean, we are so entangled, David. You are perfect. Thank you. Because I already have the financials and I've done the math when I was in grad school and I just plug in the numbers. Let's rock it. Mwah. Thank you.
Thank
Everyone
you.
should connect with David at
Yes.
dmeltzer.com.
I will send my book. I will pay for the book, pay for shipping, pay and sign the book if you'd like. David at dmeltzer.com. It's posted right there. Jodi will post it in the notes. I got to jump. Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you. Bye.